Howdy folks, welcome back to MOC-UP, the show where I teach you tips, tricks, and techniques that I have learned over my 20 plus years of building with Lego. It occurred to me that on the last show, I forgot to tell you guys what the schedule of the show is going to be. Right now, the way it looks is Wednesdays you're going to get a show about structural or building techniques. And Saturdays, at least for this foreseeable future, we're going to be focusing on storytelling through your MOC. One of the biggest issues that I see when people don't like the way their MOCs have come out is that they just don't tell a story, or the story that it does tell just does not really run through the whole MOC. It doesn't connect. It's so disparate that you can't really put it together. So we're going to be talking about that. And today, the technique that we're going to be doing is telling a story through character details. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So, if you look at a character, they have certain things. They're wearing things, they look a certain way through facial features with Lego, and you can tell a lot about those characters based on what they're wearing, how they look, and what they're doing. So, before we really break this down in Lego, let's start with a few different examples from a well-known franchise that I'm sure all of you are aware of, called Star Wars. So the first one we're going to look at is Han Solo. So, yeah, let's take a look. First off, we notice he really has a dirty shirt and vest. So he works for a living, and he's not really afraid to get his hands dirty if need be. Yet, look at his face. It's shaved. It's clean. So he does care a little bit about the way he looks, but if you look at the rest of his clothes, they're fairly utilitarian. So he's very practical in it. So he likes to look good, but only to a practical point. Let's look at his holster as well. What else can we tell about him through his equipment, his holster? If you look at it, it's designed for a quick draw. Very few other people in the Star Wars franchise that we really get to know have a holster built this way. And there's a reason for that. Military holsters are built for sturdiness, for ruggedness. They're built to take punishment. Han Solo's holster is built to draw quickly and shoot first. And I don't care what you say, Han Solo shot first. Always. Alright, so let's take a look at another character, Darth Vader. Now, this is a very iconic figure, and we know a lot about him. But what can we tell just by looking at him? Well, for one, the color gives us a very big clue to him. He's black. Throughout history, black clothing and black equipment have often meant evil. Remember, the Black Knights were often symbols of evil. What else does he have? If we look at those chest controls, those big bulky controls on his chest, and the controls on his belt, we can tell that he's not fully human. He's robotic of some sort, be it fully or partially. The mask, if you look at it, there's no facial expression on the mask. There's just eyes and a large nose and mouth area. It's very angled, and it's dark. It's very soulless. So right here we can tell that this guy is a bad dude. Just from what he's wearing, what his equipment is, and how he looks. So how do we apply this to our MOCs? Well, let's take another look at one of my MOCs. As you can see here, I have a country church, and we are going to tell what we can about the people inside of the church. Give you a quick tour of that here in just 1 second. So, as you can see, well, it's just a ton of people at a sermon right now. We got a little organ over here. In fact, let me turn so you can see that. We got the pipes there as well. We've got some stained glass windows, which I really like. And if you're interested in figuring out how I did that, it's actually very simple. I used 1 by 1 translucent pieces. You can see I've used translucent green, red, yellow, clear. On the sides there, you can see I've used blue as well. It works fairly well, especially if there's a light behind it. Comes through really nice. But we are going to focus on the people today. We're going to be looking at exactly what we can tell about each group based on how they look. Alright, so what can we infer from these two here? Well, we can infer that they're probably farmers. Not just because they've got overalls on, but if you look real carefully, he's got a little bit of like wheat or something in his pocket. So we can infer that they're farmers. We can infer possibly that she finds life tough. You can see that she's got a little scowl there. Doesn't look like she smiles a whole heck of a lot. But he seems to be doing fine. He's got a smile. He looks happy. So it could just be that he agrees more with the sermon than she does. Or it could be that maybe he's finding life easier than she is. We don't know. But we can infer that much from their characters anyway. Well, let's move on to the next couple. What can we infer from them? Well, we can infer that this one is a pilot because he has the pilot's badge and that ID card there. We can also guess that they are a couple based on the fact that they were sitting together, be it husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, fiancés, we don't know. But we can at least infer that they are together. We can also infer that they might be of a higher socioeconomic class as she has a bit of pearls around her neck. Alright, so what can we infer from these two here? Well, we can infer that they're in a little bit higher economic class than the pilot and his significant other. But maybe not too much higher. She's wearing essentially the same clothes, just with pants instead of a skirt. He's wearing a little bit more of a suit, although his is a suit vest. So he has a dress shirt on underneath, he's got a tie, and then he's got this vest. So maybe they're in the same economic class, maybe they're just a little bit higher. We don't know. But we can infer that they are at least well off enough to afford decent Sunday clothing. But honestly, that's probably all that we can infer from them. This next one, I think we can infer a great deal more from. Alright, so we can infer a whole lot more about these people. First off, we can tell they're in a higher socioeconomic class than any of the other groups, as he has a full suit on. These two are dressed up very nicely, but you can also see he's got what looks to be a pair of glasses in here. He's got a pen. This actually might be more of a pocket watch. We're not sure. So, again, it appears to be a very high socioeconomic class compared to the others. Also, he has a top hat. But we can infer even more. Let's take a look at the mother and the daughter. We can tell that they either have a very close relationship with each other, or the mother is very controlling of the daughter. They wear the same clothes, which would infer either. However, I would more tend towards the idea of them having a better relationship with each other than to the mother being controlling for two reasons. A, this is not a very controlling face in Lego. And B, this face looks, it's a little hard to tell since it's just a generic face, but to me it looks maybe just a little bit older than some of the other children's faces that they have available. So she's probably old enough to decide what to wear for herself. So yeah, we can infer that they probably have a very good relationship with each other. Also, if you noticed in the actual church, she was looking towards her father. We can infer from this that she has a decent relationship with her father. Okay, so lastly, we're going to take a look at two people who actually weren't in the church. All right. These two are actually from the old Alpha Team line that I had as a kid. Now, I will let you know that the one on the left with the brown hair is named Dash, and the one on the right with the black hat thing is Crunch. Now, I'm not going to tell you their job descriptions or who has more authority than the other, but what I am going to do is play a little bit of a game here and see if we can infer it from what they are wearing. And at the end, I will flash up what they are, and we'll see if we could infer that from their dress. So go ahead, I'll give you 10 seconds, and we'll see if you can infer who is the leader and who the other one is and what his job is. Do you think you have it? Well, let's take a look here. Well, we can infer right away that Crunch is a demolitions expert. He has a timer and he has 2 sets of dynamite there. So right away, we know he's the guy on the team who likes to make things go boom. Dash, on the other hand, is a little different. He has pockets everywhere. So, can we infer anything from that? Well, the Alpha Team unit were like a special forces / spy unit. So we don't know exactly what his job on the team is, but we can infer that whatever it is, he carries a lot of stuff. So, I'm not quite sure we can tell from there. But one thing we can tell, if you've ever played many video games or been a fan of any lines that have like explosives experts as a member of the squad or whatnot, the explosives man generally isn't the one in charge. Kind of just because their personality and method of problem solving tends to be, if it's in the way, blow it up. And that's not really conducive to to the mission sometimes. So, we can infer that Crunch probably is not the one in charge, and that Dash here is the leader of the Alpha Team. And that is pretty much right. I don't think they ever came out and officially said Dash is the leader of the Alpha Team. But through all their comics and all the storylines, it was pretty well inferred that he was the leader. And by the way, he is also the survival expert, which would make sense with all those pouches and whatnot. He has to carry everything that he's going to need to survive. So, being a survival expert, I think he would know what to carry. All right, folks, so that's about all the time that we have for today. I hope this particular story technique was helpful to you and will help expand your MOCs, make them more cohesive, and help you in storytelling in general. So remember to like and subscribe for more, and tune in on Wednesday when we'll be going over a new building technique. Have a great one, guys, and remember, keep building.